Sean, it's really good to see you. I have an important question. Did 529s just become a better investment? Congress recently passed the Secure Act. We spoke about that recently. And one of the big changes was that if you have money left over from a college savings plan, also a 529, you can now roll that money into a Roth account. But I want to start with, what is the original pitch for a 529? Who should be considering one?
529s are great plans for saving for college. So a grandparent can set up a 529, an aunt and uncle can set up a 529, a parent can set up a 529. It's a state-sponsored plan in every single state, and they set these up for saving for college. And the big deal is that they're tax advantaged. So on a federal level, you won't be paying any taxes on the gains in those counts. And as well, on a state level, you won't be paying any gains on those counts. So in New Hampshire, it's not important because we don't have a state income tax. But if you live in, say, Massachusetts, where there are taxes on investment gains, if you do a 529 plan there, that won't be taxed. Now, though they are offered at state levels and administered at state levels, you can use 529 plans in any college anywhere.
Right. Okay, so then Secure Act 2.0 changed things. What's new now with 529s?
So prior to Secure Act 2.0, your 529 plan money had to be used for educational expenses and educational expenses only. If you didn't use them for those and the beneficiary, the child, didn't go to college and you wanted to take that money back, you had to pay a penalty. Now, if the child does not use the money for educational expenses, it can now be converted into a Roth in that person's name. So it's incredibly beneficial to that individual because now they've got a jump start on their retirement savings, and they've also, it won't be a taxable situation. So I think it's a really great enhancement to the landscape.
Interesting. All right. So this next question is kind of selfish because I'm a mom with young kids, right? Does this radically affect the equation if I were trying to consider if a 529 was right for my kids?
I think it does. It gives a little bit more ease to that decision, if you will. Now you know that if your child, because not everybody goes to college, right? Let me back up for a second because we all think it's for college savings plan. 529 plans can be used for private education in grammar school or in high school. It can be used for other things such as trade schools. So it's not just post-secondary education. Having said that, let's say something happens to the child or they just don't take advantage of any of those opportunities. You now have that flexibility of going into that Roth, again, which is great because we're now avoiding paying Uncle Sam a 10% penalty if we don't use it for the education.
Now, Sean, do you make money if a client opens a 529?
So we would not. We don't work with 529 plans. Here in New Hampshire, they're handled by a big mutual fund company. In different states, they're also handled by different mutual fund companies. So if anybody is interested in a 529 plan, they can go just Google New Hampshire 529 plan. You'll find that provider, and you can go ahead and make those investments directly there. We're certainly here to help and provide some guidance, but it's not something we do in-house at Davis Wealth Management.
So you and I have spoken many times before about the benefits of a Roth account. So I guess my question is, why not just open a Roth account for my kid? Or why not pay for their college education with funds from my Roth account?
All right, first things first. You can open up a Roth for your child, but you can only contribute to that if your child has earnings. So for instance, if your child made $1,000 at a summer job, over the course of a year, they could put up to $1,000 into a Roth. They can't put in up to $6,500, which is the max. It can only be what they earned. So it's kind of difficult to do. You have to make sure they have those earnings. And I would not take it out of your own personal Roth account because, again, you're limited to only $6,500 a year. If you take money out to pay for college, you're taking away money from your retirement account that you spent years building up, and now you're going to be faced with only being able to put in $6,500 a year. If you're under 50, if you're over 50, you could put in $7,500. But again, you're limited. So I would really emphasize keep that Roth money where it is, if it's your retirement account, and look at a 529 plan to fund these things.
All right. Well, Sean, I find these conversations very valuable. I'm sure that a lot of people are now wondering if a 529 is right for their children or their grandchildren. So if somebody has questions about that, what's the best way to reach you?
Give us a call here at 603 715-2335. If you want to go to our website, that's great too, daviswealthmgmt.com. When you're there, you can click a Contact Us button, and you can put some time directly on my calendar.
All right, Sean, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.